is a very tiny, ooh, I can get that to focus. That is a very tiny male, Latrodectus hesperus, the western black widow. Very, very small. Let's take this lens off here. Oh, I don't know if it'll even focus on that, but it's just tiny. And then up here we have the female deep inside there, and there's an egg sac. So there is an egg sac in there. So kind of a neat scenario here with that male waiting outside the female. Let's head down and around the corner along the lake shore here. So much webbing up here. A considerable amount of webbing. It even goes up into the trees. I'm not sure if this camera can see that, but all of this webbing belongs to long-jawed orb weavers. This is actually a pretty great spot for long-jawed orb weavers. It's damp, it's kind of cool. Even with the sun hitting here, it's cool around these pseudo sea caves and such by the water. Here's an Arrhenius orb weaver. Making itself at home here. A nice amount of webbing there too. Let's go through the water here and around the outside of this sediment. Some carp. Scaring the carp away. Here come a couple more. Ooh. A sea cave here. We got a fossil here, it looks like. Now, some of these sediments, especially these, are fossil bearing. A cow bone. Carp coming. So the only real way to access these cliffs is through the water, as I'd have to go a considerable amount of ways around to get to the top and over. One of the spiders that make themselves at home here. Some zebra jumpers. Here is a running crab spider. Crab spider. Let's keep on going here. There's another bunch of webbing here in this crack. That is a considerable amount of webbing, and I almost guarantee that is a long-jawed orb weaver. And here we can see the orb, just a subtle hint of the orb. And then of course those chaotic anchor strands. There's the orb weaver right there. That is a long-jawed orb weaver. A little bit of scale here of that long-jawed orb weaver with my finger. It is a good sized spider. Let's try not to upset the webbing too much. So. Bit of a sea cave here. Oh, this white layer, this is ash tuff. So prehistoric volcanic ash. And quite a bit of it. Notice how pure white it is. It really is something to see. I got a zebra jumper. Zebra jumper spider. Look at how white this is. And so thick. That's got to be 20 feet. And then it just stops. That is volcanic ash tuff. So pretty alabaster. Let's make our way out and around here. So we have, looks like a broken off couple of long bones. So these fossils, these fossils have busted off. This is one of them, here's the other. So they go into the hill like that, lengthwise. And so they've been sheared off amongst this rubble or something. But these appear to be a couple long bones. Now, what's a long bone? A long bone will be your femur, your ulna, your humerus, tibia, things of that nature. Now, these are, obviously fossil-bearing sediments, but I wouldn't say they're fossil-rich. But I definitely wouldn't say that they're barren. They do produce odds and end fossils like this once in a while. I found prehistoric antler. I've even found ancient three-toed horses. A single egg sac. And there's the mother. Well, at least she grabbed her egg sac, I think. I might have startled her, so she's grabbed her egg sac and she probably wants to move it and wants me out of here. So I guess I'll move. I've probably bumped some of them strands and didn't know it. So, we've got to remember how sensitive their webs are. And black widow spiders can sense the slightest vibration. That is what they're all about. There's some more webbing here. Oh boy, look at her. Now there's a double egg sac down here. And I can see the mother underneath the egg sacs. We'll try to get close, but I don't want to startle her. But I can see she's got anchor strands that I'm probably going to bump into. You see the webs, and we can see the black widow underneath them. Her long legs. As she protects those egg sacs, let's leave her be. I don't like startling them. Something interesting about these sediments as opposed to the, I would say, a little bit deeper sediments and the ash tuff. These ones are more alluvial. And you see these rounded rocks. Notice these sediments have these rounded rocks to them, which hint at water erosion. And then the compact sandy stone or sandy sediment on top. And so the black widows can utilize this because they get deep pockets and they can get into the sand and back into it through the winter time and stay warm, or at least thermal regulate the winter, whereas over in the ash tuff and things, it's just so solid. It's so solidified that they just can't do that so much, and that's why we just don't see them there as much. And then we see some more compact sediments down here along that ridge, and above it, gravel. You see where the more ancient sediments are, and then above it, sediments from our Holocene, and just before into the Ice Age. Maybe I can change cameras and try to get one more look at her, just because she's such a large, beautiful specimen. Just one more look at that beautiful mother. Her long legs as she tends to those egg sacs. Very large black widows. Her body is so large. I just really think that's something. We go from no black widows along that sediment over there into this sediment, and then all of a sudden 1, 2, 3 we have black widow mothers just like that. As soon as we change sediments, there they are. Oh, look at this webbing. Good heavens. Now that's amazing. That is a lot of webbing. Let's try to get a close look at that. Amazing amount of webbing. That is quite large. And the amazing lattice work. You know, it really lets us see how she builds these webs. We have this amazing lattice work coming out peripherally from her hide. And then we got this amazing sheet web, this real subtle sheet web over here. Hopefully the camera can see some of those strands. And then we have this gigantic lattice work coming out peripherally from that hide. It's something I'd like to talk about. So what is that peripheral? So when a black widow in Latrodectus hesperus starts making her web at night, she'll have a hide, and then her first strands to build the hide will always come out peripherally from that hide. They'll come out, they'll offset her hide. They won't come straight out from her hide. They come out away from it, and then the lattice work and everything's built off of that. So her first strands come out peripherally, and then she begins to build her web. That's an interesting thing about Latrodectus that differentiates her a little bit from the other Theridiidae spiders, such as Stetota and Peristatota, etc. And there's another huge egg sac, very large, a very large mother. So she's got a double egg sac, and I can see the mother in there.